My name's Sarah Buss, and my partner is Alyssa Camacho. And we were part of group 4 for interpersonal communications. And our group, for our general topic, we decided on managing interpersonal conflict. And Alyssa and I decided for our group that we would focus on conflict styles and resolution. So our group project, we did kind of a two-part. We each wrote a script pertaining to a select conflict style. So we will act that out and then do a comparison and contrast into what worked well and what did not work. And then to end our presentation, we created a PowerPoint that is 3 parts. We used an outside article from the Harvard Business Review. So we will both discuss what we learned from that and what we found valuable. We also took a quiz that helped us identify which conflict style we closely identified with. And then we will talk about what we've learned in regards to conflict resolution and how we will apply that to our real life.
Okay, so the first script is an avoiding script, and the scenario is Alyssa and Sarah have been roommates for about 8 months. They attend the same college and get along relatively well, but the past couple of months, Sarah has been late on her portion of the rent and utilities, which has caused Alyssa to pay Sarah's portion to avoid the late fees. And to make matters worse, Sarah has been trying to avoid Alyssa at all costs. Alyssa has asked Sarah for her portions of the bills, and she's starting to get frustrated, develop feelings of resentment towards Sarah because she does not have the extra money to pick up her roommate's slack. Alyssa has finally been able to confront Sarah, as it is now the 10th of the month, and Sarah is already 5 days late on her rent. Hey Sarah, can we talk about something that has been going on between us two? It is very important.
Yeah, but can we talk when I get back from work? Is that fine?
I wanted to talk to you about this right now so that there's no further delay like there has been.
Alyssa, I really wish I had time to talk to you, but I really have to go to work.
Can you just listen to me and stop trying to avoid me like you've been doing the past couple months? This is really important. It needs to be handled right now. It has gone on too long now. I'm starting to get really frustrated.
Fine. What do you need to talk about?
Well, I've noticed that you've been avoiding me lately, and especially I've seen a pattern that you tend to avoid me more when the rent is due, which has led me to have to cover it for your half of the rent. I'm really getting frustrated because I don't have that kind of money right now to cover for the both of us, and you're not talking to me, which leads me to believe that you don't care.
Okay, well, I'm really sorry, and it's not my fault that my paychecks are smaller now, and I don't have enough money to cover it all at the same time.
It's not my fault either, so why should I be picking up for your slack? And you haven't made the situation any better by trying to avoid me and the situation.
Okay, well, I don't know what you want me to do. I can give you the money as it comes in, but it's still probably going to be short.
That's not going to work. I'm tired of doing everything and picking up your part. The best thing for this situation is for you to leave since you're obviously not capable of being responsible.
Fine, whatever. I don't care. Have fun being alone and dealing with all the rent anyway.
Okay, so for the avoiding situation, it shows that it is a lose-lose situation. So the losses are Sarah is unfortunately kicked out and has nowhere to stay, and now Alyssa is left worrying about the rent that is due to her not having the money for all of it.
So the second conversation we're going to have is going to be where we compromise. The general preface is the same. Sarah's late on her rent, and Alyssa has to confront Sarah to get her portion. And it's the 10th of the month, and Sarah's already 5 days late.
Hi, Sarah. I was wondering if you have some time to talk about something that has been on my mind for some time now.
Sure, but I need to leave for work in about 20 minutes. Is that enough time, or do you want to talk later? What's this about, Alyssa?
20 minutes should be enough time. I don't know if you realize, but for the past couple months, you haven't been paying me for your portion of the rent or utilities on time. I didn't say anything back in March because I figured it was just a one-time thing, but then it happened again in April and now again in May. And I'm starting to feel frustrated as if you're taking advantage of me. It's already the 10th of the month and rent was due on the 5th and I haven't received your half yet. I have cut myself short on other expenses because I've been picking up on your half. I also feel uncomfortable asking you for the money.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that you felt like that, Alyssa. I'm so sorry. It wasn't my intention to make you feel like I was taking advantage of you. And I do realize I haven't been paying you on time. My job, we changed the pay structure a few months back. So instead of being paid every other Friday, now I get paid every Friday, and my paychecks are smaller, and I don't have enough money to pay you for my full share of the bills at one time. I was late paying you because I wanted to give you the entire amount at the same time because I assumed that that would have been best for you. I guess I shouldn't have assumed and I should have asked.
Why didn't you come to me and tell me this?
Honestly, Alyssa, I was embarrassed.
There's no need to feel embarrassed. You can't control what your employer does, but I do understand where you're coming from. I wish you would have just come to me in the first place. We could have worked something out, and this conflict could have been avoided, and I wouldn't have started to develop these feelings of resentment towards you.
I understand, and you're right. I'm sorry I didn't let you know about my financial situation when the pay structure at work changed. We are roommates and we share the bills, and I should have been upfront and transparent. I didn't think about how me not paying you on time could affect your financial well being.
Do you have any ideas on how we can fix this conflict moving forward?
Well, I know that I can't pay you for my entire share at one time, but how would you feel if I paid you a portion from each paycheck? So I could take my portion of the bills and that I'm responsible for, and I can divide it by 4, and then I can make you payments every payday. That would work really well for me because I could take care of my payments as soon as I get paid, and then you wouldn't need to wait and end up asking me for money.
I see where you're getting at, but receiving a payment from you every week might get confusing to keep track of. How do you feel about compromising and paying me twice a month instead of 4 times? That would be easier for me to keep track of, and you can still budget yourself when you are paid weekly.
Yeah, that sounds good. We can try that method. Thanks for bringing this up, Alyssa. It was never my intention to make you feel like I was taking advantage of you. And if something like this ever happens again, please let me know right away. I really enjoy having you as a roommate, and I don't want to damage our friendship.
You're right, I should have let you know right away, and if another conflict arises, I'll be sure to let you know immediately. I like having you as a roommate too, Sarah. I hope you have a good day at work.
So in this situation, this was a compromise because there was a partial win and a partial lose for both parties. Alyssa partially won because Sarah's going to be paying her twice a month for her portion of the bills. And then Sarah partially won because she doesn't have to pay Alyssa all at once. Neither party was able to obtain the original solution that they wanted, but they were able to meet in the middle to resolve the conflict. So now we're going to go ahead and put our PowerPoint on the screen and share what we've learned.
Okay, so from the Harvard Business Review article, some things I learned was that people have different way of handling situations based on their conflict styles, but on some occasions, people may have the same type of conflict style. I chose 2 examples on what certain people do if they're in the same thing or opposite and how they resolve it. So one of the examples is both will avoid. So they usually do nothing but hold it in, which can cause trouble later when they reach a certain point and let all their emotions out. What they should try to do is someone should at least take some initiative to try and make the situation better so that they're not just staying in place. The next example is one person is a seeker and the counterpart is an avoider. So the seeker is trying their best to get their partner into being on their side, while the avoider is passive aggressively trying to get their side said. What should be done to try to resolve it is that both should be able to participate and communicate so that it's not just a one sided conversation. There should be no bullying, and there should be patience when dealing with the situation.
And then what I learned from the article is most people identify closely with one conflict style more than another, but we actually need to learn to flex our styles based on who our conflict is with. So accommodating may work with one person, but that might not work with the next, and you might have to collaborate with somebody else. So we really have to consider who the person is and how they tend to communicate, and take that into consideration when working with others in order to have the best chance to resolve the conflict appropriately. We can learn to do this by observing behaviors and asking direct questions, such as, how do you communicate and how do you like to resolve the conflict? If we don't flex our conflict style toward the other person, then we actually have a greater chance of not resolving the conflict, and then that leaves for negative feelings and then tension in the future.
Okay, so the quiz that I took, or that we took, to determine which conflict styles match us are, my results were that I'm 60% in giving into the situation, 20% into compromising, and 20% into running away from the situation. I genuinely think I do agree that I tend to give up more because I just want to get the situation over and done with. I usually also compromise to try and make sure both sides are happy and one isn't left mad at the other. And sometimes I just run away due to anxiety and not wanting to deal with hard situations. But some of this may seem, people might take this as being too nice, and they might take advantage of me, which could lead me into feeling resentment towards them or feeling bullied, and could lead into worse situations.
And then when I took the quiz, I my compromise and collaboration, they were the same. So I was 40% compromise, 40% collaborate, and then 20% give in. And I mostly agree. I tend to compromise a little bit more because I do think it's important that both parties have the equal power when working toward to resolve the conflict. And I understand that, nobody really gets their way. So both parties might feel a little bit unsatisfied, but both parties do feel satisfied at the same time because we kind of met in the middle. In regards to collaboration, I do believe it's important to find a solution that works for everybody. There's more ways to get 4 than just 2 + 2. So we can try to focus on the positive feelings that way. The downfall to collaborating is it can be time consuming and emotionally draining, and that's the downfall. And then occasionally I'll give in. Usually I tend to give in if I don't really care about the situation and it's kind of just a minor conflict and I just kind of want it to go away. But I mostly tend to compromise or collaborate.
So ways we can use what we've learned about conflict styles is we can relate it to different situations that we handle in life, whether it be dealing with friends or family. You're able to, in situations where you need compromise, you can have somebody, you can be the middleman and just make sure everybody ends up happy, or at least somewhat happy, and not fighting towards each other. So it's kind of like a happy medium type of situations that you can handle, and you're able to just not have so much conflict.
And then what I've really learned about conflict styles is it might not work out the way you really want it to the first time, and that's okay. Things don't always get resolved right away, and that's why it's a conflict and that's why it's a problem. So it's okay to revisit the topic when both parties are really ready to talk and work through the problem at a later time. Kind of reminds me of the beginning of the course when, we asked for that permission to talk, and same thing with conflict. You might want to resolve the conflict today, but I don't because I'm not ready or I don't feel like I'm in a good state of mind. So that is our presentation. Thank you, Alyssa.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.